Okay, slope given 2 points. This is actually a critical idea. You're going to get to calculus and you're going to find this whole weird looking thing to find the slope of a line using the slope of a function at a given point, given this limit process idea. And when you get there, I want you to remember that I said to you that calculus is this algebra. And M is this M right here is from the French word monter, which means to climb. So the slope of any line is given by y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. A couple things I want to assure you of. It doesn't matter which point is which, and you can try this both ways. If you don't mind, I'm going to label this first point right here. I'm going to label this the point x sub 1, y sub 1. And this point over here, I'm going to name this point the point x sub 2, y sub 2. And I want to stop for a second and tell you that these little sub numbers right here, the ones here, they don't have any numeric value. It just means kind of goes together, almost like the last name of the point, that the x value, the first x value goes with the first y value. This is the first x value, and its corresponding y value is this one. And these 2's just mean the second point. It doesn't mean 2 times something. It's not numeric. It's just keeping track of something. So this is the question that we're going to be answering. We're going to be answering the question to find slope. We're trying to answer the question, what's the average height change as we move over 1x? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this distance right here. That's the change in, this distance right here. And this distance is the change in x, isn't it? And then we're going to divide that by the change in y. How much did the height change, right? So this is what we're trying to figure out. What's the average change here? So we're going to do it this way. I color-coded this up a little bit. It says y sub 2, so I'm going to take the first y value, which is this 4. I'm going to just plug this in here. So 4. The formula says here that we subtract, so minus. And the first x value, the first y value is 2, so 4 minus 2. All right, sorry about that. So is equal to m. And now we're just going to do the bottom part. And x sub 2, the second x value happened to be 3. So 3, right? It says in our formula that we're going to subtract, so minus, so that's this minus sign, minus the first x value. The first x value happened to be negative 1, so this is negative 1. I want to be clear about something here. This negative sign right here is formulaic to this, right? It comes from this formula. This negative sign is that one. This negative sign right here is because that x value is negative 1. All right? So 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 minus minus 1, so we're going to stop here and simplify this. Negative negative is a positive, isn't it? Is 4 equals 1/2. And what that tells us is that every time x increases by 1, y increases, the height increases by only 1/2. All right? All right. Also, I want to be clear about this. This is positive slope, and we always read functions. As you're going to read a graph, it's as x increases, y does what? In this case, y also increases. Okay, let's try another example. All right, so that's a positive slope, isn't it? So you can use the same formula, and let's use this. Let's do this one. I think. Stay with me here because I think you're really going to get this in just a second. I hope that you're getting this. All right, and this one has the points negative 4, 1. So maybe negative 4, 1 is maybe here. Negative 4, 1 maybe. So I'm just going to say that's negative 4, 1. And the other point that my function has is negative 1, negative 2. So negative 1, negative 2 maybe. So negative 1, negative 2, right? And I'm suggesting to you that these are points that the line passes through. So pretend this is a perfectly straight line. And I'm saying to you that my line, that pink line right there, passes through these 2 points. So to find the slope of this whole thing, I'm going to use this formula, okay? First off, hopefully you can see this has a negative slope, right? Because we talked about this. We're always read as x increases, y does what? So here, as x increases, as we move from here to here, right? As we move this way and we're stuck on this rail, as I try to move to the right, the line is decreasing. So in this case, it's decreases, isn't it? Decreases. All right, let's find the slope of this, and let's call this, if you don't mind, let's call this x sub 1. And if this is x sub 1, remember, this has to be y sub 1, same last name. And this is x sub 2, y sub 2, where these 2's, these sub numbers, tell us what pair they belong to. So this pair belongs together, so it's the x value of the second pair and the y value of the second pair, okay? And then remember, you should be writing this 1,000 times. It'll stick, I swear it will. It's y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And somebody there's going, how do I know which is the first pair and which is the second pair? It does not matter. Try doing it both ways, as long as you keep the pairs together. So if you rewrote this, y sub 1 minus y sub 2, it would be fine, as long as on the bottom you put x sub 1 minus x sub 2. Something you should investigate and try. So I'm going to do this negative 2 minus, right? This minus sign right here is this one right here, right? And the second y value is 1, so minus 1, right? And so we have negative 1, this whole thing is m. Negative 1 minus what? Minus 4, so this negative sign right here is this one. And then we have negative 4, so this negative sign is from the negative 4, isn't it? So we have negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3, isn't it? And then I'm going to simplify this math out. This negative and negative is a positive, isn't it? So we get negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Isn't that true? So negative 3 over 3 is negative 1. So our slope is negative 1. All right? All right. I think this is really doable. You know what? If you don't mind, if you're still with me, can we try this backwards just to see if we would have gotten the same answer? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo this, if you don't mind, because I'd like to prove this point to you, because I think it'll make you feel better about, people get so freaked out. Like what if I get the order wrong? So let's just switch this, and let's say this is now x sub 2, this is y sub 2, and this is x sub 1, and this is y sub 1. All right? Then now we would have 1, right? Minus negative 2, right? And here we would have negative 4 minus 1, right? Simplify this out a little bit, and this goes to positive, doesn't it? Negative times a negative is a positive, so this becomes positive, doesn't it? Negative times a negative is positive here, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. If you remember the last time, we had negative 3 over 3. Now we have 3 over negative 3. Still, the answer is negative 1, isn't it? So order does not matter as long as you're consistent. Okay, you guys, I hope this was helpful. Please subscribe.